I'm Jack, 42, and 3 years ago, I lost my wife, Sarah, 38, in a car accident. We have two children, Libby, 14, and Liam, 11. Sarah and I met in high school, and from the moment we started dating as lab partners in chemistry class, we were inseparable. We went to college together, got married right after graduation, and started our family. We were together for 20 years before she passed, leaving a huge void in our lives. Sarah was a pediatric nurse who had a special touch with kids. She could calm even the most distressed child with just a few words. It was no surprise that she was an incredible mother. Libby inherited Sarah's compassion and nurturing nature, while Liam got her quick wit and love for science. Sarah's family, her parents, Celine, 65, and Bob, 67, and her younger brother, Mike, 40, were a huge part of our lives. They lived just a few blocks away and were very involved with the kids. Celine, a retired elementary school teacher, would often help with school pickups and homework. Bob owned a small bookstore and would take Liam to science fairs and Libby to poetry readings. Mike, the fun uncle, would show up on weekends with new board games or take the kids to superhero movies. Sarah and Mike were incredibly close, and his devastation at her death was profound. The night we lost Sarah was a rainy Tuesday. She was driving home from a late shift at the hospital when a drunk driver ran a red light and hit her car. She died instantly. The police officer who came to our door at 2 a.m. seemed as heartbroken as I was when he delivered the news. The first few months after Sarah's death were a blur of grief, funeral arrangements, and trying to hold it together for the kids. During this time, Celine and Bob were incredibly supportive, practically moving in with us to help with meals and childcare. Mike took a month off work to help sort out Sarah's affairs and provide emotional support. However, as time went on, things began to shift. Initially, Celine would make subtle comments about my parenting choices, questioning why I let Libby wear makeup to school or why Liam could play video games on weeknights. Her disapproval grew more frequent and pointed. Bob, who had always been laid back, also started criticizing everything from the kids' diets to their activities. I found myself constantly defending my decisions and feeling like I wasn't living up to Sarah's standards. About 6 months after Sarah's death, Celine began pushing me to date again. She casually mentioned single women she knew, a neighbor, a church member, even Liddy's math teacher. I politely declined each time, explaining that I wasn't ready. But Celine was persistent, saying the kids needed a mother figure and that Sarah would want me to move on. "You're still young, Jack," she'd say. "You can't spend the rest of your life alone." While I understood her concern, it felt overwhelming. I was still grieving and adjusting to being both mother and father to my kids. The idea of dating felt impossible, almost disrespectful to Sarah's memory. The situation came to a head at Libby's 13th birthday party last year. We planned a small gathering at our house with family and Libby's friends. Celine insisted on helping, which I appreciated, but she showed up with a woman named Rachel, 36, who she introduced as a friend from book club. It quickly became clear that this was a setup. Rachel was overly familiar, asking intrusive questions and touching my arm when she laughed. Celine hovered nearby, clearly pleased with the arrangement. I was furious but didn't want to cause a scene. I saw the confusion and discomfort on Liddy's face, and Liam retreated to his video game. After the party, once the kids were in bed, I confronted Celine. She admitted she had set me up with Rachel, saying it was for the kids' sake because Rachel was a widow too and would understand our situation. I told Celine her behavior was unacceptable and that she needed to back off. Celine became defensive, accusing me of denying the kids a chance at a complete family and insisting that Sarah would want them to have a mother. I snapped back that just because Sarah was gone didn't mean she wasn't their mother anymore. From that point on, interactions with Sarah's family became strained. They criticized my parenting, pushed for me to date, and told the kids I was selfish for not giving them a new mom. The final straw came when Libby cried to me, feeling guilty for not wanting a stepmom. "Grandma says I should want a new mom," she sobbed, "but I don't want anyone to replace mom. Does that make me a bad person?" I decided to limit contact with Sarah's family. I told them they could only see the kids if I was present and cut off all one-on-one communication between them and the children. They were outraged, accusing me of trying to erase Sarah's memory and robbing the kids of their connection to her. Celine and Bob started showing up unannounced and calling at all hours, leaving guilt-tripping voicemails. Mike initially tried to mediate but eventually sided with his parents, saying I was too harsh. Now, Mike is getting married next month, and I told him the kids wouldn't be attending without me. He says I'm being unreasonable and using the kids as pawns in my conflict with his parents. Sarah's family is calling me an asshole for keeping the kids away. I feel like I'm protecting them from manipulation and unnecessary stress, but I'm starting to wonder if I'm overreacting. The kids miss their grandparents and uncle, but I don't trust Sarah's family to respect my boundaries. Am I the asshole?